This is Two Girls, No Rules.
No, it's not a porn. It's just a podcast.
We're your hosts, Charlotte
and Christina.
And today we're talking about
aliens,
ancient civilizations, ghosts, and cryptids. So stick around because it's going to be a wild ride.
Are aliens real?
I think the aliens are real. Absolutely. I think that aliens are real. Even though I've never had a personal experience with aliens, I still absolutely believe in them.
Why?
Because I don't think that it's possible that we would be alone in the universe. I cannot imagine that in all the space that there is out there, that we're the only species that is here. Yeah. The only intelligent life that exists in the entire universe. Like, we're not that special.
So why haven't we seen them? Or okay, that's probably a different question, because a lot of people do claim to have been abducted. I've had channeling experiences. But yeah, do you think there's actual physical beings that have been here on the planet, like walking among us? Do you know what I mean? Visiting our government? And
yeah, I do think so. What you said about like why haven't we seen them? So let's talk about the Fermi paradox.
Yeah,
because
totally.
This is really interesting, and this is very science behind things, right? So
science.
Okay, so the Fermi paradox is the discrepancy between the likelihood that aliens exist, given what we know about the universe, and the apparent lack of evidence for aliens. So if it's likely that there's life out there, then where's all the evidence for it? So this comes from a physicist, Enrico Fermi, in the 1950s. He was having a very casual conversation with some of his fellow physicists, like you do. They were talking about UFOs and light speed travel and all this kind of stuff. And at one point, Fermi apparently said something like, "Where is everybody?"
Okay.
So the exact quote is unknown what he said, but it was something like that. And so this question has led other scientists and researchers to try and provide an explanation for where the aliens are.
Yeah.
And I think the reason this is such a fascinating and intriguing question is because, based on what we know about the universe, there should be evidence of extraterrestrials, right? There should be extraterrestrial life out there.
It seems like life proliferates in such harsh conditions. Like, why wouldn't it be on other planets if the conditions were right?
Yeah.
Like, is it so hard for the conditions to be right for life to grow, right? Like, we know that there was rivers on Mars. Like, there's probably some kind of life on there, right?
So it is very, very specific conditions that are required. It is, right? But so let's talk about the theories, okay? Because there's lots of different reasons.
Oh, you sound so smart.
I've just been reading and researching all of this. So there's lots of different reasons put forth as to why as to what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to go, there's like 25 of them here. So I'm just going to go through them. We don't have to deep dive into every single one because that would be a lot. Sure. But let's just talk about them. So extraterrestrial life is rare or non-existent. Mm-hmm. Extraterrestrial intelligence is rare or non-existent. Periodic extinction by natural events.
So these are hypotheses?
So these are just different hypotheses.
Okay.
And, there's information on each of them, and there's been different studies and things like that. But just theories as to, what's going on. Intelligent alien species have not developed advanced technologies. It is the nature of intelligent life to destroy itself. Mm-hmm. And I think that's quite likely, just given what's going on.
Or natural disasters.
Yeah.
And just like.
Yeah. It is the nature of intelligent life to destroy others. Civilizations only broadcast detectable signals for a brief period of time.
Okay.
Alien life may be too incomprehensible. Colonization is not the cosmic norm. Alien species may have only settled part of the galaxy. Alien species may not live on planets.
We may be in a simulation.
It's not on my list, but I should add that to the list. We may be in a simulation, and that's why we can't connect with
anything,
because we're not really
in the virtual reality. We can't leave the dome.
I love that idea. Alien species may isolate themselves from the outside world. Lack of resources needed to physically spread throughout the galaxy. Information is cheaper to transmit than matter is to transfer. Humans have not listened properly. Humans have not listened for long enough. Intelligent life may be too far away. Intelligent life may exist hidden from view. Advanced civilizations may limit their search for life to technological signatures. This one's my favorite. Everyone is listening, but no one is transmitting, right? We're all just listening, but no one's actually sending a signal.
We're consuming. That's funny because my friend Jeremy Garner, he's like an author and a spiritual like wizard musician. And he put out this whole thing on aliens because he was like, the stuff that the government is pushing is so fearful.
Yeah.
If you want to connect to aliens, you just have to open your heart,
right,
and just request to connect, because these beings, these are higher dimensional beings or interdimensional beings that you can connect to, and they're our brothers and sisters. Like, there are other versions of us, and you can do it obviously through psychedelics.
Right,
You can do it also through meditation, and I just don't feel like it's these physical things that are going to come down in their spaceships and destroy us, like it's being pushed in the media. You know what I mean? Like, it's
right.
It's. I feel like, okay, according to my own spiritual theories, if the chakra system is in alignment with reality, like the Hermetic principle, as above, so below, as within, so without, and we can kind of see everything just reflected in patterns. If we look at our society, our Earth, as a third density reality with fourth dimensional consciousness, and we're actually just waking up now. We're finally becoming enlightened. Like, people are waking up. We're moving into the heart. We're going to be moving into the fifth dimensional consciousness, where we have lots of freedom, and time and space is not linear. Okay, this is something the aliens channeled to me, and I wrote a whole book on it, fifth dimensional healing. Once we're at that level, right, at the level of the heart, we can still fall into darkness, or we can move up into the higher dimensions, right? So think of humans, right? There's going to be evil humans. There's going to be good humans. But once you reach those higher densities and dimensions, you don't feel the need to hurt other people. Like, why would aliens even feel the need to come down to us? Well, like, you guys got to figure it out.
Like, if they're so advanced, they might just not bother.
We're like chimps,
right? They might not care.
No,
but also it might be, if they're in other dimensions, that may be a reason why we don't see them, right? Because they don't exist in this dimension, and so they zip in and out, maybe little ships and stuff, right? Like,
think of it in terms that everyone can relate to. Like, you go downtown in Vancouver anyway, and you see all the drug addicts.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily want to be there. It's uncomfortable. The density is low. Like, it's a low vibe. I think that's how aliens feel when they're trying to connect to us. We have to raise ourselves up,
right,
to be able to connect to them. And like, I really feel that we have psychic powers. Like, I really feel that we all have psychic powers, but we're told we're not powerful.
Oh, they've been suppressed for sure.
And we can work on them. We can hone them. And when we don't even have to use psychedelics, but when we open our third eye and we like connect, that's when light shifts have shown up for me. Yeah. But I don't know what they are. Like, what are they? Like, just interdimensional travel things?
What do they look like when you've seen them?
Well, like shooting stars. Like, I went when I was a spiritual. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. So maybe they're all around us all the time.
I think so. Maybe and we don't see them.
Yeah. We're not able to see them.
And think of the city lights too, right? We have city lights. Before, in the past, when ancient cultures would look up at the sky and they believed in sky beings, you could see the whole night sky.
Yeah.
And like, it was so amazing, right? Yeah. But anyway, what I really wanted to share with everybody too is, when I was this alien expert on YouTube, I was talking about them all the time. I wasn't really, but like, I mean, I'm not going to discredit myself. I was really into aliens, and I was doing my best to share. But so people thought I was this alien expert and a starseed, and I still feel like I'm a starseed. And I feel like a lot of people have star connections, and they're coming here with certain purposes. Yeah. But these 40-year-old like engineers from TELUS contacted me, and they're like, "Do you want to come UFO hunting?" And I was like, "Okay." I was just in my 20s. And so we went up
because they saw you on YouTube.
Yeah, they knew me from YouTube. And so we went up to a mountain.
Right. I remember this. Yeah.
At night. And there was this other like spiritual girl there. And we did all these meditations. And we listened to Dr. Stephen Greer's meditations. He has like guided step-by-step meditations for you to see aliens and connect to them.
I think I've seen him in a documentary.
Yeah. So I mean, like, we weren't connecting to the evil ones, hopefully. Like, we were opening our heart and doing chanting and using crystals. And I didn't expect anything. I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. But things started shooting through the sky. Like, two things would beam up together, shoot perfectly in sync, and disappear. Like, anomalies I cannot explain.
Wow.
And we were just like, we weren't high or anything. We were completely sober because we were trying to be spiritual energy vibes.
Yeah.
And it was just insane. Vibes. Like, we don't know what it was.
Yeah.
Like, we still don't know what it was. That's crazy.
I want to do some of those meditations, and I've always wanted to see, like, I want them to like appear to me.
I feel like you just ask in meditation, like, and you connect, and you're like, what my friend Jeremy was saying is like, imagine you're them looking down, and you're trying to connect to us. Like, we're just imagine there's no separation, and just ask, and maybe do a little cannabis. So you're open. You're a little open.
Yeah.
You know, if it's suitable for you.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's fascinating.
What are your personal alien experiences?
So I don't have any. I really don't. I've never.
I mean, you've been around me.
I live vicariously through you.
I think you're bringing in a lot of starseed. You draw in a lot of starseed energy.
I think I have a lot of light, and I think that my heart is open, and I have a lot of experience with like psychic. I think that I'm psychic, and I have a lot of really good intuition, all that kind of stuff. But I've never seen. I've never seen anything.
I've never seen an alien,
but I've seen what I thought was shooting stars and stuff.
Yeah.
I remember that years ago, with my ex-boyfriend, we used to sit on the balcony and there would be helicopters in the distance. And we'd be like, is that an alien? Is that an alien? Because it's just so far away in the lights, you can't really tell what it is. And then they would get closer and we'd realize they were helicopters. But we used to really, it's so exciting, right?
Mm-hmm.
To sit there and look at the night sky and just wonder what all these different things are.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that leads me to ask, like, why do you think we're so obsessed with aliens? Like, why do you think as a species, people are so...
I think it has to do with the media mostly. I mean, like, we're just flying through space. Like, it's like, what's out there? I think it's a natural inclination to want to understand.
Yeah.
And I do personally believe that we're from other star systems. I feel connected to other places in space, but maybe that's just me remembering that I was an interdimensional being, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, before I was in a body. Yeah. And maybe like fairies or aliens or these interdimensional beings we're connecting to. Maybe it's not such a planetary thing, but I personally feel like I came here from somewhere else. Maybe everyone feels like that, like.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people who feel like they don't belong and that this isn't their home, but it's
a way to cope.
It might be like a coping mechanism, right? Or it might just be like, everything's so fucked up. This can't possibly be like, our home.
I've learned to trust though in my visions.
Yeah.
I really feel like there's something to it. I feel like what we get taught in schools is bullshit. Like a lot of it. Like, I feel like a lot of ancient cultures, they were aware of star people and they talked about them in a lot of native cultures and stuff like that. And they just, in ancient African tribes, they're like, yeah, we're from the Dogon people from Sirius, and like they seeded our tribe and stuff. Don't quote me on that, but I think, you know what I mean? Like they just like were so connected to these beings. Yeah. Like why are we obsessed with aliens? We just want something more, right? We want something more than our banal existence. So.
I think that's what it is. We crave that there is like more, something beyond just like our daily life and our daily,
Did you think that you were abducted when you were a kid? Did you feel like you're abducted? Yeah. Are we obsessed with like aliens or anything when you were a kid? Like the Greys, or did you think they're like coming after you and speaking to you telepathically? Because I definitely did.
No, I really did. I mean, I've always thought aliens were real. I've always loved sci-fi. Like I grew up watching the X-Files and all that kind of stuff.
You're obsessed with that. This sci-fi show, the Stargate Atlantis on TV.
I love it. I'm obsessed. Yeah. And I love sci-fi, and I love this idea, like if I could live in a fantasy world, in my own like VR fantasy world, I would choose an intergalactic adventure and just live on a spaceship and go
pirate.
And like be a space pirate and go on adventures in space. I love it, but I've never had personal experiences.
I think our memories are just wiped.
Or maybe, and
maybe then like when you do psychedelic, they'll come back.
Okay, so apparently in the UK, in just the past 2 years, there have been almost 1,000 documented UFO sightings.
Ooh.
Yes. And that's really cool because I didn't realize there were so many UFO sightings in the UK. I wish there would be more in Canada because I don't think that they're very popular here. But so in July, just a few weeks ago, we had 3 former military officials who told Congress that they believe that aliens are real. I'm sure you've seen like the videos,
some of the
all this stuff, right? So they think the government are covering this up. David Grush is a former intelligence officer, and he testified that non-human biologics have been recovered and that UAPs and UFOs are a real threat to our, global security.
So that seems sketchy, but
right. So I believe in aliens.
Alien attack, incoming terrorist. Yeah.
Yes. But so I'm very skeptical, like when
the government tells you
the government tells you something.
when the government starts speaking.
When it's at like a higher level, right? It's on all the mainstream.
It's like
mainstream media.
Meanwhile, what's
reporting.
happening? Meanwhile,
That's
what's
the
happening?
thing.
What are they distracting us
Right.
from? Right.
So my instinct tells me that it's some kind of distraction from something that's going on or from
Yeah.
something that is going to happen. But I
False
also
flag alien attack or something.
But it's so hard to tell. Maybe it's a distraction away. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't.
I mean, in my deepest heart, I would love if that's true. And other documentaries have claimed that they've found, biological aliens, and spaceships and de-engineered them and stuff. And they talk about the free energy, magnetism, gravity, force systems, whatever. Like, it's crazy. So who knows?
Yeah.
Like, I want to believe.
Yeah, it's hard to tell what's true and what's not true, especially today. Like after everything we've gone through in the last couple of years, there's just so much information everywhere. So
like they're just playing coy. They're like, I don't know, like I'll check back on you guys like in a month or so.
Yeah.
Maybe you won't be polluting your water then.
yeah. I watched a video recently and the guy was talking about how, like why would aliens want to come here?
Yeah.
Like, we treat each other like shit, right? Like humans are not exactly, if you're looking at the big picture, like we kill each other and we murder and, we eat other creatures on the planet, right?
We're very egotistical. And I've heard theories where there's been like nuclear warheads sent out and aliens have misdirected them.
Right.
And like aliens, something has gone wrong and something they've saved people. Like, so maybe they do interfere somehow with their technology.
Yeah.
I feel like there's way more cool technology coming and aliens better get down here and give it to us. They better take over the government and let's get us on a better system where everyone's free and happy. Like that's my hope for the aliens, that they can come up down here and help us. But
I mean,
I think we have to help ourselves first of all, in order for them to
we do
want to come down. And
we do. Maybe it's a good sign that we're seeing more and more of them, or if we are seeing more and more of them, maybe it means that we are waking up. We're kind of like leveling up, right?
Yeah.
And I think what I was going to say about this whole, hearing in Congress and the aliens are real, the government saying the aliens are real, people have had such a mild reaction to it, right? Like it doesn't seem like people are all that phased. People are just like, whatever.
People know they're here in some capacity and they don't trust the government. So
right. But also like there's so much going on Earth, like the cost of living is unbearable. The oceans are boiling, the forests are burning to the ground.
Yeah.
We just went through a global pandemic.
Yeah.
Right. And so people are just kind of like, like, what else is new? Right. Like there's aliens. Oh, of course. That doesn't surprise me. And, the last one thing that I've learned over the last couple of years is that paradigms can shift in an instant, right? Like our whole world can get turned upside down in a day. So I don't think I would be as shocked. Like if a giant spaceship came down and was just there, right? Like I don't think I would be as surprised now as I would have been like 3 or 4 years ago.
I'd be like, you're a little late.
Yeah.
I've been praying, but I'm still happy you're here.
I would just be like, I've been waiting.
I'd call you up and be like, space pirate adventure now.
Yes.
Let's do it. Come on. Take the kids. Let's go. It's so fun. You only get to pick one boyfriend. Or find a new one in space. Space boyfriend.
Oh, totally finding a new one in space.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I feel like there's a lot of when I was really young, because I'm still young, when I was a teenager and looking this up all the time because I was obsessed with aliens, there was a lot of information about how aliens built the pyramids, and I don't think that that's true. After studying Egypt and architecture, I think it was human ingenuity. Like I feel like we give a lot of credit to these aliens for ancient societies, but I think humans did a lot of this stuff, and I think there was even. Well, before I get into anything, what do you think about that? Do you think aliens helped us in any way in the past?
So do you think that that humans, as we knew of as what we know from the past, built the pyramids?
I think they built the pyramids.
They just figured out a way to build the pyramids.
I think we had technology, maybe
that we don't have anymore, or that we're not aware.
I think maybe aliens were visiting us in some capacity, like interdimensional beings are always affecting us and stuff.
Right.
But not like coming down here and building pyramids like physically. I think that we had laser technology, we had electricity, we had so much that we just don't talk about now. Like in schools, we don't learn all that stuff, that we were like super advanced societies. Did aliens come down and give us that information? Perhaps. Did we take mushrooms and connect to them? Maybe. You know what I mean? Like I think that's more likely that we took some psychedelics and opened ourselves up to higher dimensions and was like, okay, now I know how to build the pyramids.
Maybe.
I know what DNA is now.
Yeah. So, well, I remember reading something, I can't remember what it was, but I remember reading a theory that humans were originally brought to Earth as a slave race to mine.
The Anunnaki, like,
right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I read this, I don't know where I read it, but when I was just sort of researching for this episode, there's a book called Slave Species of the Gods by Michael Tellinger.
Yeah.
Have you read it?
You're bringing up all my past conspiracy theories.
Okay, so I had never heard of this book.
Okay,
but
I'm like giddy.
Yes, so he claims that human species were engineered by the Anunnaki.
Yeah,
who are a group of deities of the ancient Sumerians.
Yeah,
and they used pieces of their own DNA to create us, but they inactivated their more advanced DNA so that they could control our mental and physical capabilities.
Okay,
so just let me read the description from the back of the book.
Okay.
So as Michael Tellinger reveals, the Sumerians and Egyptians inherited their knowledge from an earlier civilization that lived at the southern tip of Africa and began with the arrival of the Anunnaki more than 200,000 years ago. Sent to Earth in search of life-saving gold, these ancient Anunnaki astronauts from the planet Nibiru created the first humans as a slave race to mine gold, thus beginning our global traditions of gold obsession, slavery, and God as dominating master. Right. And that's fascinating. And so apparently there's archaeological evidence of this. I don't know what the evidence is. I haven't read the book, but I'm definitely going to because it sounds fascinating.
There's also a lot of biblical stuff about angels and Nephilim, right?
Yeah.
Of coming down and mixing with humans and creating different races.
Yeah.
So that could kind of tie into that.
Yeah.
People also say that the elites, right, are connected to the Anunnaki. They have the higher DNA.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not saying that's true, but these are all just weird theories, right?
Yeah. So the Solarian hypothesis was written in 2018 by Gavin Schmidt, a climate modeler, and Adam Frank, an astrophysicist. So Schmidt was studying climate change on distant planets, looking for something called hyperthermals. So these are periods of short-term rapid global warming, the kind of temperature changes that might be created by releasing large amounts of carbon into the atmosphere, and which could indicate industrialization within a civilization. So if you have a civilization that is becoming industrialized over, hundreds or thousands of years, the temperature could rise. And if you can track that in the Earth's, crust or ground or whatever, the rock, it could indicate that there was, other civilizations
societies
here.
Yeah.
Right. So there are natural phenomena which can cause the temperatures to rise, obviously like volcanic eruptions and, different things like that, the changes in the Earth's soil. But so there's somewhat of a conspiracy to this kind of hypothesis as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the name for this hypothesis actually comes from the episode of Doctor Who, where they traveled back in time 450 million years and met an ancient species of technologically advanced lizard people called the Solarians. So this is where it gets interesting. When we think about the timeline of Earth and the planet, modern humans have been around for about 200,000 years, right? But the Earth has been here for 3.5 billion years.
Oh.
So that's such a short period of time that humans have been around, right?
Our kind of humans, right?
Yeah, our kind of humans, right? Exactly. Right? Yeah. So I think we tend to think that if humans disappeared tomorrow, that everything that is on the planet, like all of our massive ships and skyscrapers and cars and everything, that it would just be around forever.
Yeah.
Right? Like that it would just be here for thousands and thousands of years. But that's actually not the case. Things would get just destroyed. Things would crumble.
But
right?
it would survive in our cells, right? Our cellular
we'd be
memory.
gone.
I know, but
right.
Anything that sprouted up would have our knowledge,
right?
And evolutionary knowledge.
Sure, yeah. But that's actually not the case. So, the Earth undergoes massive changes like all the time. And even fossilization, like the process of fossilization requires very specific conditions. So if everyone disappeared and a new species arose like 500,000 years from now, or even a million years from now,
we wouldn't even know that they were there, kind of thing.
Would they know that we were here? Because we're the ones that, if a new species came in 500,000 years, would they have evidence that we were here? Would there be evidence that we were here?
Well, like the pyramids. Well, that's how we know that they were there.
Yeah, but it's a couple thousand years.
I know, exactly.
Right? So I'm talking like in a million years from now,
so
or in 2 million years from now.
You're saying that lizard people were here.
I'm saying that if there was a species on Earth, 500 million years ago, would we know that they were here? Would there be evidence of them?
What actually lasts, right?
Exactly, right? But we think of ourselves as like the pinnacle of or the pinnacle of evolution, right? That we started here, now we're here, and we're just going to keep going. But like, maybe this is the 10th time it's happened.
Let's talk about ghosts.
Ghosts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you seen a ghost?
Let me think.
Or had any experiences with ghosts?
I think I've had more experiences with ghosts. Well, I haven't had any experiences with aliens, but yeah, so I have had experience with ghosts. We used to, when I was a kid, we used to always be like seeing things, like we used to.
You're more open when you're a kid too. You do see things.
I think so. Yeah. I think you're more connected to something when you're a kid.
Your third eye's open. It's not crystallized from alcohol and drugs and
all the bad
stress.
Shit. Like we used to hang out in the graveyard.
Same.
I used to live across the street from the cemetery, and so we would always and I felt very comfortable there, which is very strange.
It's peaceful.
It's peaceful. I used to like reading the tomb, like the gravestones. Like seeing,
I thought you said I would like reading in the tombs.
reading the dates, and in the UK there's a lot old. They're older, right? So seeing all the dates and like seeing people, hundreds or 150 years ago, and just thinking about their lives and what things.
I'd search for my name and make emo videos. I could wear black and be like in the graveyard and do seances, which is maybe a little dangerous now that I think about it. But funny. Yeah. Any like specific ghost experiences you had, like where you thought a spirit was interacting with you?
I can't really remember specific ones. I know we used to play Ouija boards a lot. We used to, always be doing that. We would always be doing strange rituals.
Like what are ghosts? Are they, do you think they're actual people or energy signatures, or like energy are they interacting with us, or are they here? Or like, what's your opinion?
I think,
are they lost souls who haven't moved on? Or is it just kind of like somehow they can connect to us somehow? Are they tortured?
I think this is probably a combination of all it's everything. Yeah. I think that some are lost souls. They're trapped here for some reason. They can't move on because they have unfinished business, or they just, they're not ready to go.
They don't want to. They're waiting for a loved one or something.
Yeah. I think that I would like to think that also they're just in another dimension, and that after you pass away, you can come back and you can communicate.
Yeah.
Maybe there's an afterlife, and then maybe there's also this other dimension where you can go to communicate with people in the living world.
They can communicate through certain waves, right? Certain music waves. Those, I don't know what it's called, EMF readers or something like that. You can tune them.
Is that what they use to like trap ghosts?
And you can hear them. You can definitely pick up spirits. And I've picked up spirits just recording like music. Like you can hear them in the background, like weird sounds, and
it's creepy.
But it's not easy for them to come through. Like they need a reason to come through. I remember my grandma saying that because her daughter died young, and she was trying to communicate to her all the time. So she would talk to her over tapes and things, and then they would go back to normal. So they do like, if they really need to tell you something, they will talk over. It's muffled, but like they can try to communicate through tapes, and they'll knock and do certain things. I think it's really hard for them to move stuff like in this dimension or whatever we're in. But like for me, my experience, I'd never seen a ghost or anything like that, but all my family talked about ghosts. I was like, oh, okay, there's ghosts, there's spirits and stuff. I was at my grandma's house, and me and my sister had put up this little sign above a knocker, like an old fashioned knocker. We pinned it to our bedroom door, and we were like, please knock before entering. And so we woke up one morning and we heard a knock. It was like someone had picked it up. Yeah, no one was there, and the door was moving open and closed. And so I jumped into my sister's bed, and I was like, look, and it stopped eventually. And then later on in the day, everyone went outside to the backyard. We were like drinking lemonade. It was summer. No one was in the house. And me and my sister and I were combing our hair in my grandma's bedroom, and we heard the knock again 3 times, and we just ran out screaming. And we took the note down, and we just thought, oh, maybe it's the family member, maybe it's the ghost, right? Because that was her bedroom.
That's so creepy.
So and then like it would kind of follow me around. I felt like it was trying to talk to me, because I was like, oh, okay, you can notice me. And then I just said, leave me alone. Yeah. And it did.
Yeah. You literally invited it to knock. You're like, please knock. You're like, just knock.
Like, I'm sure they want to connect to us somehow. And I'm sure people just have like natural ability sometimes, but seeing them or talking to them wasn't mine.
Yeah.
specifically. I don't think I would want that. Like, it seems almost like a burden, like to have spirits coming up to you and being like, hey, can you tell this
Pass
person?
along this message for me.
Yeah.
Growing up, my mom is really, really spiritual, and she would go to the spiritualist church, my mom and my grandma. And so at the spiritualist church, they have mediums, right? And my grandma's friends were mediums, and they would always be getting messages from like the loved ones and stuff. So my mom would always be, great grandpa said this, or, this person came through, and they'd get drawings and like sketches of like the ghosts and stuff like that.
I feel like when we die, our suffering ends. Like if we do, maybe people struggle to let go of things, but eventually everyone moves on to the light or whatever, like
or the darkness, depending on.
Well, I mean, I think we're all from the light in the end. I think we all like our suffering ends. But if we have more learning to do,
that evil people go to an evil place after.
I think they just go back to Earth and they don't
get to like live in the light, like ascend. They don't get to ascend, maybe.
I think we go back into incarnation to learn our lessons, to deal with our karma. And I think hell can be right here. It's a state of mind. I don't know if there's an actual realm like that. Maybe. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely.
Confusing.
I mean, I don't believe in heaven and hell, like in the biblical sense. No. I'm more inclined to believe in reincarnation and that we come back, and just repeat our lessons over and over again until we've learned. Do
you think you've been here before?
Yeah, definitely.
Same.
Definitely. I definitely do.
I think I'm doing better this time.
Yeah, I think I'm doing pretty good. It'd be interesting to see how many like past lives you've had. Like if you could access some device that would tell you.
Yeah.
Right. And then, you think in your head, I must have done this hundreds of times, but you're like still a baby. You've only done it twice.
Yeah. That'd be so awesome.
Yeah.
I really hope we get to look at all our lives and get all that information when we're dead and see all our connections. And we just are able to perceive time differently.
Yeah.
I just want that so bad. I'm going to be embarrassed, but I won't even have those human emotions.
No, you won't. You won't.
Like lusting after people, obsessing with them, and writing, like doing spells.
You're gonna just be like, it's so, inconsequential.
I was just a child.
Right? I feel like we must have known each other for a long time. I feel like, and I feel like that with a lot of people, it's like you meet someone and you just feel like I've known you for lifetimes,
soul family.
Right? Like there's no way that this connection doesn't go back for lifetimes.
Yeah.
Right.
That's funny because that's where my gifts are. I get information about where people are from, like what planets are from,
really?
where I see their past lives. And I'm like, oh, okay, you're from Venus and I knew you here. And or I knew you from this life.
Yeah.
And I don't tell people all this stuff.
Where am I from? Do you know where I'm from?
Yeah. I mean, I see you in Europe. I see us in Europe together. And I see us like,
were we evil
like
queens?
Like some kind of fairy nature dimension or something like that. And even though you don't think you have space connections, I think you probably were a Venusian priestess like me.
Yeah. Probably.
Of course. But who knows, right? And I mean, we're also tapping into our ancestors, right?
Yeah.
We also have ancestral DNA and lifetimes flowing through us. So I mean, even if you don't believe in past lives, your ancestors' past lives are inside of you.
Right, you're connected.
Think about all your ancestors and what they did and what they went through, the wars and everything, and what they had to do to make you.
Yeah,
like, that's insane.
I know it is. It is crazy to think about how many people had to get together. For you to be born. Like that's so many connections over so many generations.
Yeah.
That had to specifically come together for us to be here right now.
Let me ask you, do you think that since we're kind of talking about spirituality in general, do you think that you choose to come here? Like, do you think you chose your parents? Because I didn't used to. And now I'm like, maybe I had to. Maybe I feel like we were all connected somehow. And I was learning lessons and I needed to go through certain experiences with them. Like, I don't think it's as random as people think,
Yeah. I haven't really thought about it from me, but I've thought about it for my kids.
Yeah.
Like I've often thought that they chose me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've always been like so grateful that they chose me to be their mother. Right.
It's so cool.
So in that sense, then I guess I did also choose my parents.
Like I feel like it was different dynamics, but maybe I was like a mother to a parent in a past life.
Right.
Like, our dynamics are like that still, kind of like in some cases. It's weird. It's like I don't see them as my parents.
Yeah,
that's I just see them as entities that I know. Like
I've heard stories of kids that they remember their past lives and they talk about how they were the parent they were the parent in a past life and their parents were the kids.
Yeah. Especially one of your children who I've known for a long time. I feel like we all knew each other before. Like, it's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. It's weird because like, I can't imagine life without them. You know what I mean? It's like they've always just existed and always just been with me.
Yeah.
Right. And even like as soon as they were born, it's like you remember them. Yeah. Even though you've never met them before. Yeah. You know? It's such a weird feeling.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you think that Bigfoot is real? Is that an ancient species of humans like you were talking about? Or is it like, what is it?
I never used to believe in Bigfoot. Actually, I don't know if I do believe in Bigfoot. I feel like if Bigfoot was real, there would be more actual good
photos.
Like, evidence.
Yeah, you were saying
pictures,
everything's blurry.
Right? Everything's blurry. Even the aliens, even the, the cryptids and all the different crazy creatures
What's
that
a
we've
cryptid?
seen.
Is this D&D or is this real life?
No,
I have to ask this
is real life.
Evan, like every day.
I don't know what the actual definition is. I think it's
just like a forest weird creature.
I think it's like creatures that we don't. Cryptids are animals that cryptozoologists believe may exist somewhere in the wild, but whose present existence is disputed or unsubstantiated by science.
Things we haven't discovered, maybe.
What's that one? The chupacabra or whatever?
Chupacabra?
Yeah, that. I think that would be
like
considered a cryptid. So I think Bigfoot is considered one, right? But apparently there's a lot of sightings in Canada, in like BC, in Alberta. Like there's a lot of like Bigfoot sightings.
I got something ready. I got something ready. So I know we talked about this before, but I think this is really spooky.
Okay.
Because there's evidence of this. This isn't like, okay, aliens, maybe they're here.
Right.
Something has been taking campers and murdering them and like scattering their bones, and their bones are like miles away. So how are they traveling? Are they popping in and out of dimensions?
Right.
We don't know what they are, but they're definitely interacting with us and they're
killing
us. Yeah. And so people have documented them, maybe not them, but they've documented their sounds. Mm-hmm. And according to, engineers and stuff, people who study audio, they're over 7 feet tall and they can go lower in range and much higher and like mimic all these different sounds. So that makes me think like, are they some ancient species or are they like some kind of aliens?
Yeah.
So like, what are they like? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you want to hear what they sound like?
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
It's like speaking some tribal English, right? Like
it does sound like a dog, but the speaking sounds a little bit more.
It just creeped me out.
It is really creepy. But it's again goes back to that question of like, why don't we have the evidence? Literally, people film every single second of their lives, and yet we can't get a clear shot of Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Right? So why? Why is that? I like the multiple dimensions. I like the theory of they're coming in and out of different dimensions because that makes sense, right? Like if multiple dimensions exist, it makes sense why we wouldn't have clear shots of them because they're just not letting themselves be seen.
Some people say that they're interacting with the electromagnetic frequencies and you can't catch them on camera, but this seems like an excuse. Like things probably do go awry, right? When aliens come close or their ships come close and they rise up out of the ocean. Maybe they really do fry people's brains. Maybe they really do shut off all the lights and things. Like maybe their waves are just so odd. And
well, that was one of the theories behind why we don't have as much evidence for aliens is because we just can't comprehend them or they, we can't connect with them on that level, right? Because they're just, their ways of thinking are different than ours. And so we're not able to see that.
Yeah. So I have some more myths. These are the ones that I thought were interesting. A Wendigo.
I've heard of a Wendigo. I can't remember what it is though.
Yeah. From the Plains, Great Lakes, Natives, First Nations, it invokes a feeling of insatiable hunger or greed, and it turns you into a cannibal and causes you to commit murder.
Sorry, say that again.
It basically it's like a...
Oh, it's like a witch type, not a witch, but like
It's kind of like a chupacabra, I guess, right? Like a entity,
right.
And it turns you into this. Maybe I don't know if it bites
possesses you.
Maybe it's more like a spirit, yeah.
Okay,
and it possesses you, and you turn into this hungry, greedy cannibal, and you eat people.
And where is this myth from? Like what?
It's a Native American.
It's a Native American myth.
Native First Nation, Great Plains, Great Lakes.
Wow.
A skinwalker. This is one I relate to a little more. From the Navajo is a witch who can disguise themselves as animals.
That's creepy.
They can like change their skin. That's so cool.
I mean, you got to think like these myths come from somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's something, I think there's something to them.
Let me read you this last one.
Yeah.
It's really good. In Japanese mythology, a Jorogumo was a deadly hybrid creature that could transform from a spider into a beautiful woman to seduce victims to their death. The story goes that when a Jorogumo spider, a common species found in Japan, reached 400 years, it gained the power to shapeshift and developed an appetite for human flesh. Disguised as a beautiful woman, the Jorogumo were able to enchant and lure men into their web of lies. Their webs were constructed of silk threads so robust that once trapped, no man could possibly escape. The Jorogumo would then administer their lethal venom, gradually weakening their victim to savor their prey as long as possible. A slow and painful demise for their sorry victim.
Oh my goodness.
I love that.
Yeah, I like that too.
I want to be that. Some of my past boyfriends will say, I am that.
So like 400 years and then they just turn into this hungry, crazy creature.
It can turn into like a woman. I feel like people are afraid of witches and they come up with all of these stories about how they're evil and when women are just like really magical.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, right? They're trying to suppress the magic. So they just condition people to think that witches are bad and witches are evil because they don't want people to embrace that, which I think is just a natural part of being a woman.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of the time, because we have a lot of power. And so they just make witches out to be evil.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think the general consensus of this chat is that aliens are definitely real, but maybe they're not exactly
the way
the government is presenting them and the way we think they are. And there are ways to connect to them through spirituality, I think, more so than just like going outside and be like, you better get down here and
show yourself.
Yeah, show yourselves. I think it really is about opening the heart. If you want to connect to any loving being, right, you got to open the heart.
Yeah.
And
go sit on a mountain with some candles.
Go sit on the mountain,
and meditate.
And just
ask for them to show themselves to you.
Yeah,
and see what happens. Maybe we could do that and then report back.
That could be one episode.
Totally,
yeah. That would be good.
You go to a mountain.
like time with magic. Okay, guys, the aliens are here. Now we're on the ship. But we're not going to finish this episode. We're going on the fire. We're going on an adventure. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, the world is a great mystery. We don't know if we're in a simulation. No one knows what's going on. Even at high-level government jobs, everything is privatized. No one knows what each other is doing.
Yeah, everything's secret between
even in science institutions, like no one knows what the other person is doing.
Yeah.
How do we
and that's the thing, right? Like even if aliens did come down and there was a massive, massive ship and they're like, well, take me to your leader. Like who do you go to? You know what I mean? Like we can't all.
We'd be like, Elon Musk, I guess.
You probably want to talk to him.
Yeah. Like people already.
We can't agree on anything. And so, I don't think that they're going to come here as a race until we can all be united.
Totally.
And peaceful.
Like let's work on becoming a peaceful race and then come down.
Aliens.
And until then, we just need to do our crystal meditation.
Yeah. And focus on, fixing the world.
Aliens do wear fashion sometimes and they shop at a store at Jupiter.com. Go check it out. Join the conversation on Instagram. Okay. Bye.
Bye.